Hi, this is Christopher Kimball from Milk Street Radio. I often shop at Whole Foods Market since they sell the kind of food I like. Organic vegetables, a great meat counter, and of course a great staff. For Thanksgiving, Whole Foods offers brine turkeys, as well as a spiral-cut bone-in ham. The Whole Foods Market Bakery has a large assortment of pies, even a vegan pumpkin pie, or grab some brioche and butterflake rolls for the table as well. Or you can ask the Whole Foods team to cater your meal for you, including the bird, the sides, and desserts. Get your holiday party started at Whole Foods Market.
Bombas presents unsolicited gifting advice. Number 1, if they say not to get them anything, get them something. 2, underwear is a great gift, just not for your boss. And 3, those absurdly soft Bombas socks and slippers you've been eyeing for yourself, they'll love those. And the fact that for every item you purchase, another is donated to someone who needs it, they'll love that even more.
Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/ACAST, code ACAST.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch. Whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
Hey, it's Carly. Quick reminder that we're releasing a Let's Talk About It episode from our Patreon today, but we'll be back with another episode of Sister Wives next week. Until then, enjoy this recap of Seventh Heaven.
Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk About It.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And this is Seventh Heaven, Season 2, Episode 4, Who Knew?
And this is a snippet of Corey's history, a little time capsule of television delights known as Seventh Heaven. Believe it or not, I used to watch this on a weekly basis in my house. Go figure.
So this is nostalgic for you.
This is nostalgia, yes, because for a couple reasons. First of all, it's the overbearing tone of Christian themes in the show. And then also, we didn't have cable. So this was on the CW, and that's free programming.
So this was about as good as it got for free programming, huh?
Yeah, pretty much.
For something that wasn't a cartoon.
Well, I mean, there were other shows. There was a whole swath of shows that were very similar in content, too. There was a lot of Jeebus-related adjacent shows.
On the WB?
Not specifically on the WB, on CBS, because I think that was Touched by an Angel. You remember that one?
I do, because my mom filmed. How old am I? My mom recorded Touched by an Angel over my Cinderella VHS. So I do remember Touched by an Angel.
A little aggressive there in the recollection.
I was a little pissed.
But here's the real story. Was Cinderella the VHS that you had, was that already taped off TV?
Oh, like, of course. Yes. It was not from Disney.
It wasn't out of the vault.
No.
But don't come for us, Mickey. The legal team at Disney.
Now, my history with Seventh Heaven, I didn't watch this till I was in my mid to late 20s.
And I tried to warn you because you reach a point in Seventh Heaven where it is completely off the rails, batshit crazy.
Well, yeah, I couldn't stop watching this because, number one, it was this weird microcosm of a world that I didn't understand because that's not how I grew up.
Reminded you of a simpler time.
And then also, it was like a Christian telenovela for me.
And it did get very soap opera-y, especially in later seasons.
Well, like anytime they needed to wrap up a storyline, just let someone get hit by a car.
Car accidents, as we come to find out on this episode too, very prevalent in the Seventh Heaven universe.
Okay, this episode that we're recapping premiered October 6th, 1997.
It was a simpler time.
And here is the episode description. Eric accuses Matt of doing drugs when he catches him with marijuana. Simon teaches Ruthie the art of doing laundry.
Did Eric ever catch Matt with the marijuana? I don't think that happened at all.
No, technically he did not catch him with it.
No, it should have been wildly assumes immediately that it was his oldest son, Matt.
So I guess for those who did not ever watch Seventh Heaven, should we give a little synopsis of what this show is? Very high level, Corey.
Basically, it's the pinnacle of family television programming. If you're basing that on a very focus on the family level of ratings and content that you're able to discuss.
All right. So the whole show is focused on the Camden family, right? Eric being the father, Annie the mother. Eric is a
diddler?
bastard.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
Well, I called him a bastard when you said that.
Well,
he's a pastor, and so he's referred to as Reverend Camden throughout a lot of the series. They have 5 children at the start of Seventh Heaven. They ultimately end up with what, 7? Seventh Heaven.
yeah, see what they did there?
No, well, there were 7 of them to begin with.
Yep, you got
7
it.
individuals.
Because obviously it's a mother and a father complete the family.
Is that why they were like, no, we got to stay
gotta
with the
be twins.
theme, so they have to be twins?
Had to be twins. Spoiler alert.
Well, we couldn't have 6 children.
No.
6 is not a number that we want to get near.
Sorry, Robin.
All right. Shall we get into the episode?
Yeah, I think Carly was a little taken aback by the format here as well. You weren't used to that cold open right into an ad commercial break. See, this is just enough to get you interested as far as the opening. It's the attention grabber to make sure that the audience stays in their seats.
Sister Wives has me trained now. I need to watch at least 15 minutes of content before I get the first commercial break, because otherwise I'm just going to be bored out of my skull and turn it off.
I was going to say 15 minutes of donkey footage intros. Yeah, that's going to be great.
Should we maybe name the kids? I just realized that we were doing an intro and then we totally went off topic.
See, it might be worth noting at this point is that I thought it would be more than suitable for this episode. I would say almost necessary that there was some level of marijuana that was in play with the actual preparation for the show. So I didn't while we watched, but I have partaken prior to recording here, which we should also note. I feel like the listeners should know that it seems that whenever I consume any sort of marijuana, Carly is immediately impacted by this as well. There's no secondhand that's taking place. It was an edible that I just had. So you've had no contact with this.
I think that I'm doing pretty well here. I'm trying to keep us on track, having an episode that makes some coherent sense. You're taking us off the rails.
Yeah, it's kicking in right now because I tried to time it for about an hour before we were recorded. So here we are. It's just now taking effect. So I apologize if we steeply decline here. I'll try my best to make it to the end.
We still didn't start the episode.
Okay. Wait, you're naming the kids?
Yes.
So yes, we have the oldest is Matt.
Because of course we had a boy, our firstborn son.
As all American families should.
And then their oldest daughter, Mary.
But spelled wrong.
Okay, no, Mary is different. Let's have this debate.
I don't want to have this debate in my current condition.
Mary on Sister Wives is not Mary. They're 2 different names.
I cannot discern those differences that you feel so attached to and so strongly about.
Yeah, this is a completely different name. This is Mary Camden, not to be confused with Mary Brown.
I'm pretty sure they were going for the same name, but it was just unique spelling. It's not a different name.
Sound off in the comments because we have not been able to come to an agreement on this for 3 years.
We're going to need to have a poll, a draft, a vote to establish, is Mary Brown, Mary. Boy, this is the content that people are paying for this month. Okay, maybe we'll do that at some point.
Okay, let's move on to child number 3, whose name is a lot less debatable. Lucy. Annoying Lucy.
Middle daughter, child. How many middle children do you have out of 5? It's 1, I guess.
Corey's checking on his hands, if that's correct. Okay. Next, we have Simon.
Another boy.
And finally, we have little Ruthie. All biblical names, I assume.
No. Yes, the Old Testament classic Lucy. One of the judges of Israel.
Oh, fuck, this is gonna go.
I have a secret. I used to struggle with dull, saggy skin. Then I found Spoiled Child's E27 liquid collagen. This extra strength liquid formula, packed with type 1 and type 3 collagen, vitamin C, and hyaluronic acid, makes it so easy to visibly transform your skin and hair. No more chunky collagen powders, just a smooth, delicious liquid that can be blended with any drink. With over 100,000 five-star reviews, this liquid collagen is going viral for a reason. And with their try before you buy offer, you could try your full-size product at home before buying. Take the quiz at spoiledchild.com/quiz. That's spoiledchild.com/quiz.
It took a lifetime to find the person you want to marry. Finding the perfect engagement ring is a lot easier. At BlueNile.com, you can find or design the ring you've always dreamed of with help from Blue Nile's jewelry experts who are on hand 24/7 to answer questions, and the ease and convenience of shopping online. For a limited time, get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com. That's $50 off with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with Auto Quote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
We all have dreams. Dream home renovations, dream vacations, or sending our kids to their dream colleges. But finding straightforward ways to turn those dreams into realistic goals, that's where things get tricky. Merrill understands that. That's why, with a dedicated Merrill advisor, you get a personalized plan and a clear path forward. And having the bull at your back helps your whole financial life move with you. So when your plans change, Merrill is with you every step of the way. Go to ml.com/bullish to learn more. Merrill, a Bank of America company. What would you like the power to do? Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, registered broker-dealer, registered investment advisor, member SIPC.
Holiday magic is in the air, and DSW's got all the shoes to make your season extra merry. Believe, you've got parties to attend and lists to check twice, so DSW is taking care of the details, like gifts to make their eyes all aglow, styles that bring joy to your world, brands everyone wants, like UGG, Nike, Birkenstock, and more, and deals to make your budget bright. Find the perfect shoes for you and yours at a DSW store near you or dsw.com.
So what was Annie? Big fan of Lucille Ball. We have to have some reason why they went with Lucy.
That has to be it, right? There's no other explanation.
A nice name to remind people of the 1950s, a time that the Camden family would love to return to.
It's a simple time.
All right.
I put my notes away.
Finally, that's because it took us 20 minutes to get to the episode.
Yeah.
So the episode opens and Matt is in the hallway at school grabbing something out of his locker, and he gets invited to a party on Friday night by, I guess, did we ever find out the guy's name? Just some random classmate?
Just some dude.
Some dude who wants to really mellow out this weekend. Those were his words.
Right, yes, and he's going to partay, as it were.
He's got a little something to hold Matt over until we get to the weekend. So he hands him a joint, which Matt then stares at, horrified, and stuffs in his shirt pocket.
Well, he handles it pretty cool because he looks at it in his hand, closes his hand very quickly, and then opens it again to make sure
it didn't disappear.
It was the right thing. Is this something I should be concerned about? Yes, it is, in fact, something I should be concerned about. I don't think the weed's going to be that good because you wouldn't be able to just put it in your shirt pocket and have it go completely undetected if it were good weed.
For the whole day.
because there would be a very obvious smell that is emanating from your pocket at that point.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the writers of the show do not have much experience with the marijuana.
Probably not.
So he goes the rest of the day with this joint in his pocket at school, and he gets home and walks in, bends down to give Happy, because of course their dog's name is Happy. What if it was Lucifer?
I don't think it would be.
But what if it was? I improved the show.
That was his angel name.
So Happy is about to get a little happier because the joint falls out of Matt's pocket onto the floor.
The physics behind this are questionable at best.
It literally falls right in front of the dog.
Because it's not Matt's pocket, his pants pocket. He tucked it into a shirt pocket on his chest.
Right, like where you would put a pen protector.
Pocket protector.
A pocket protector.
For pens. Correct.
Yes. I was almost there.
Yeah. So just, I can't imagine a physical scenario that would take place
where the joint flies out of your pocket vertically.
In making an effort to pet a small dog at your feet, how this would propel out of the pocket, that I don't know. But alas, here we are.
So now the joint is loose in the Camden family home with Happy. I mean, it is secure.
Well, yeah, Happy wastes little time scooping this up off the ground and immediately laying claim to it.
He knows he's got something good.
Well, yeah, and Happy ain't no snitch like those drug dogs.
He's about to be a snitch, so hold up.
Oh, no. That was not Happy snitching.
Okay, let's wait till we get there. We got the B story that they introduced to us, which isn't that important. It's just that Ruthie doesn't know how to wash her clothes. And in the Camden family home, you are responsible for washing all of your own clothes once you're old enough to dress yourself.
Yeah, because she's, 5 years old? 4?
she's
she's
5.
like 3 years overdue, basically, from where the Camdens expected her to be doing her laundry.
And Simon's like real uppity in this episode, isn't he? He's real upset with Ruthie is where it all starts because she's been wearing the same shirt to school 3 days in a row. And he just thinks that is obnoxious and disgusting. And it's time for her to learn how to wash her clothes.
Yeah, Simon is very high and mighty this episode in both storylines because he's over it on teaching Ruthie how to interact with laundry and gets very judgmental immediately without even knowing what's going on.
We get our first little drop of suspicion when Annie's in the kitchen and all the kids are coming in after school and Mary asks for eye drops because her eyes have just been so itchy and red because Lucy has been lighting incense in their room and it's really fucking up her eyes and she's going to need some eye drops.
Well, and I like how Annie had to immediately question, why do you need eye drops? Because it's not pollen season. That's the reason that's given. Okay, you can have dry eyes for a whole many different sort of reasons, I suppose. But
also, aren't eye drops like 89 cents in 1997?
And they're not like illegal, something that is like a controlled substance.
No, like if Mary was doing drugs and needed eye drops to cover up the fact that she's been smoking so much weed in her room, don't you think that she could take a single dollar bill down to the store and buy a pack of eye drops?
Well, so that's what it comes down to. What is the motive here? What is the motive behind eye drops? Because are you trying to cover up the fact if you're smoking enough weed to necessitate, if you're smoking enough weed to necessitate eye drops at this level, I think there would be other reasons where it would be obviously apparent that you're getting that baked all the time.
You'd have some other signs.
There's going to be some other smells in the hallways, probably. There's going to be other telltale signs.
And I think that Mary would be looking to borrow some more money more often.
Probably asking for an increase or advance on her allowance.
All right. Well, Happy has been waiting for Reverend Camden to come home so that he can narc on Matt. That's how I saw it. This dog sat with the joint by the front door for an hour waiting for this man to come home.
I didn't see it as a narc thing. I thought Happy had obtained the drugs.
And he wanted to share them with his best friend.
Yeah, I feel like Reverend Camden came through the door and Happy was like, you know what? You look stressed.
I've got something for
I got
that.
I got something to help you out.
So
and just plops it down on the floor for him.
he just drops the joint right in front of Eric.
And how awesome would that be if that happened?
If your dog just dispensed joints when you walked in?
When he came in and be like, well, this is the best thing ever.
Well, instead, Reverend Camden holds the joint and stares at it pensively, but doesn't say anything. He doesn't say, who the fuck gave the dog a joint? What is happening in this? What did I come home to? Do we need to take the dog to the vet? Did he eat any of it? What is happening? No, he's dead silent. He decides this is his secret, his and Happy's secret now. And he walks in the kitchen casually, ready to find out some information. He's looking to gather information because he's on the case now.
He's highly suspicious of everyone. So maybe this is good shit because just from picking it up, he's already getting super paranoid.
He's walking in the kitchen and Mary's still complaining about her red, itchy eyes. Matt is snacking on all the cookies in the kitchen. Lucy is asking if she can have a new friend over tonight who they've never met. All things that Eric thinks are suspicious.
Suspicious.
As Robin would say. So he pulls Annie aside. We need to have a private chat. We need to step out of the kitchen, leave all of our drug addict children in here. I found something.
No visitors tonight. We are at DEFCON 1. And actually, I'm not sure. Is DEFCON 1, is that the worst one or is that DEFCON 5? Do the numbers go up?
I don't know.
In severity?
I don't think that we need to figure that out right now. So he shows Annie the joint. And this is something that she's immediately identifies, right? She doesn't need it to be explained that that's some weed.
I like how the way she determined it, though, was to sniff it aggressively and just drag it across her nose. No, yeah, that's definitely it.
Definitely what that is.
Because, yeah, I love how the way that it's brought up is Eric is dragging Annie upstairs to their bedroom so they can have a private conversation, doesn't say anything to her, just pulls the joint out and holds it in front of himself to see what her reaction is and have her start talking. He doesn't say anything. He just presents it almost as if to say, we're going to blaze this thing or what?
Look what I brought home.
He wanted to gauge. Maybe that was it. Yeah, he was trying to see. Maybe she's into this.
He suspects everyone, including Annie, right?
That's true. He did have to check it out. He had to check and confirm.
So for a split moment, they consider maybe Happy is dealing drugs. But then they turn their attention to the kids and start accusing every single one of them because they all have reasons to suspect that they are doing drugs at this point in time.
So Annie starts running all the different scenarios.
She's accusing everyone.
Yeah, which children? Who is it? The only one we can safely exclude at this point is Ruthie because she can't even dress herself. I don't think that's a reason to exclude her. I'm still suspicious.
Eric's going real hard for Matt, though, right from the start.
I think that's the difference. Annie is not accusing everyone.
She's giving everyone equal opportunity to have been the one who brought the joint into the house.
She's listing out, who these potential suspects are. She has not gone into full accusation mode yet. Eric is 100% all in. This is a Matt problem. Definitely. Not a doubt in my mind.
So now they map out a plan. How are they going to find the culprit, the one who did this? And they decide they're just going to casually bring up drug use and see if anyone fesses up under duress.
Yeah, we're just going to play it cool. And then, let's invite all these other people over to the house that I already uninvited down in the kitchen.
Because I'm a cool mom.
But we're going to re-invite them and make sure that, yes, they do come to dinner. So that way we can add all sorts of other people into this line of questioning. We need all of the information that we can gather.
But first, Annie has to secure the joint.
So she's going to stash it in the sock drawer.
Her sock drawer.
Jewelry box.
She puts it away for safekeeping. That's where it's going to stay until they find out who was the one who brought it into their sacred home.
Then we have the older Camden girls, Mary and Lucy, listening to reggae music at a semi-reasonable volume.
It's like, of course. This show is so stereotypical that they're playing reggae music. So clearly they're smoking a fuck ton of pot. They're back on the suspect list, right?
Oh, they've been bumped up on the suspect list.
But Eric has gone into their room to tell them, you know what? The friends that we said you couldn't have over tonight, they can come over. Bring them over here. I'd like to question them as well.
Well, yeah, because that's Mary's assumption right away is Dad doesn't invite people over just because he's nice like that. There's usually an ulterior motive here.
That's nice.
Something's up because this family is all about manipulation and not addressing anything directly.
So Lucy's pumped. She doesn't care. She doesn't take any of the advice that Mary is giving her. And she wants to get dressed up to look hot tonight because Rod, is he her boyfriend or just someone that she's interested in?
I don't think they're officially dating.
Someone that she would like to date.
Probably someone that she would like to date, but isn't willing to commit to her yet because they're not sure.
Because she's Lucy Camden.
She's Lucy Camden. She's a Lucy Cannon.
So she needs a scarf to complete her look.
Gotta look hot for my BF tonight. Let me raid Mom's drawers.
And that's what she does. And guess what drawer she happens to go in?
Ooh, she found Mom's stash.
And she pulls the joint out of the drawer, and Lucy and Mary are staring at each other. They're devastated because they think their parents are smoking pot.
Or at least their mom, I think, is what they eventually land on as their theory.
Right. Well, first they thought maybe it's both of them, but then they decide that Annie's life is so tragic that there's no way it isn't her, right? She's raising all these kids. She's a stay-at-home mom. She doesn't get the accolades and the attention that she deserves. It's actually pretty sad. And she was born in the 60s. She's always baking something. It just adds up that she's the one who's been smoking.
Why wouldn't she be baking herself? I just thought it was such a dick move where Matt was coming up the stairs when Mary and Lucy were in their parents' room and found the joint. He then realizes the joint that was in his pocket earlier is not in his pocket. So he didn't come in to clarify. He's just hearing his sisters suspecting that his parents, both of their parents, are smoking weed secretly. And he does nothing to go in and disprove that.
No. He says nothing. He just sulks into the shadows, goes and hides.
And lets them continue on with these wild theories that they are now formulating.
And it only gets worse because then we go downstairs and we find out that while that is happening upstairs, Eric is busy questioning Simon. Simon, who just started middle school. He could be doing drugs, right? These middle school kids, we can't trust them. We don't know what kind of influences he's had at this new school.
He's interacting with these older kids. Maybe he's trying to impress some of them, get into the cool crowd. But no, not from drugs. Simon is a real straight shooter when it comes to drugs. Drugs are dumb.
Yeah, he tells Eric, no, I would never do drugs. They're dumb. I watched all the films at school where all the junkies have needles hanging out of their arms.
Drugs are dumb, and junkies are dumb for doing dumb drugs.
So...
which is a pretty wild take,
well,
to say the least.
I love that we are taking weed and doing that lovely thing that we like to do in America where we make all drugs equally bad, where we went from talking about a joint to now we're talking about some serious drugs that are injected into your body that Simon is watching at school in health class.
I believe we could say narcotics.
Okay, there you go.
But yes, it's the usual jump that happens, which is the whole reason why the DARE education system really fell flat.
Okay.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
It took a lifetime to find the person you want to marry. Finding the perfect engagement ring is a lot easier. At BlueNile.com, you can find or design the ring you've always dreamed of with help from Blue Nile's jewelry experts who are on hand 24/7 to answer questions, and the ease and convenience of shopping online. For a limited time, get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com. That's $50 off with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Bombas presents unsolicited gifting advice. Number 1, if they say not to get them anything, get them something. 2, underwear is a great gift, just not for your boss. And 3, those absurdly soft Bombas socks and slippers you've been eyeing for yourself, they'll love those. And the fact that for every item you purchase, another is donated to someone who needs it, they'll love that even more.
Go to bombas.com/ACAST and use code ACAST for 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/ACAST, code ACAST.
Every idea starts with a problem. Warby Parker's was simple. Glasses are too expensive. So they set out to change that. By designing glasses in-house and selling directly to customers, they're able to offer prescription eyewear that's expertly crafted and unexpectedly affordable. Warby Parker glasses are made from premium materials like impact-resistant polycarbonate and custom acetate. And they start at just $95, including prescription lenses. Get glasses made from the good stuff. Stop by a Warby Parker store near you.
So, needless to say, Simon is off Eric's suspect list now because all he had to say was, drugs are dumb, and I hate junkies.
Which Eric is like, oh, thank goodness. I'm so glad. I don't know why anybody would do anything like that to themselves. Why would anybody choose to do that? And it's like, I could give you a few reasons if you really want to get into it.
Now, Annie is in the kitchen and Matt happens to be in there as well. There's, this is the time before cell phones, so he's using the house phone and he gets a very short phone call. She hands him the phone. It's, again, someone she's never heard of. He takes a very fast call where he whispers a lot and quickly hangs up when Annie walks back in the kitchen and then tells her that he's going out tonight.
Is he selling drugs? That's the moment that Annie knew that it was Matt. And that's why she is so dead set on intervening with him.
So Matt's still suspect number 1, but Lucy is about to potentially climb up on this list as well. Because Eric starts questioning her about her little friend who's coming over tonight. His name is Rod. Does he have both parents at home?
Well, I like how his initial suspicion was Lucy is all dolled up. You're a little too young for this look, which is the only time that that's been an issue for Reverend Camden, apparently. But
again, we're implying here that if he comes from a home where he only lives with a mother or only lives with his father, that he must be on drugs. Those are the types of kids who we've got to watch out for.
And Lucy's getting kind of slutty. So she's up to no good.
As they're having this conversation, he's realizing the matches that he usually keeps above the fireplace have gone missing. Another thing that someone may be using to smoke the weed.
No, I think he just hid that box of matches and then he used that as a talking point to lead in, you know what else he used matches for? And that's how he was going to casually and calmly bring this up in conversation with his children.
But Lucy and Mary, they already know what's going on here, right? So they suggest, well, maybe you should ask Mom where the matches went, Dad. And he's like, what? Huh? Okay. So then he tries to have a heart-to-heart with them. But instead of getting a confession from them about where this joint came from, they just end up asking him for more trust because they're having these guys come over tonight, and usually Dad checks on them every 5 minutes, and they like to have a little bit more privacy.
Well, yeah, just like how he was pretending to be supportive, but he wasn't actually being supportive because then when they did bring up things that were on their mind, he was like, okay.
That wasn't what I wanted to talk about.
This doesn't help me. I'm fishing for evidence here.
And then they also suggest at the end of that, I think maybe you should also spend a little more time with Mom.
Thanks for nothing, girls.
Can we talk about the laundry thing just for a second?
Yeah, because it gets a little too informational.
It gets a little weird because Simon's trying to show Ruthie how to do her laundry, and he's showing her how you throw everything into the laundry, and now you got to add the soap. And this is how he measures the detergent. First, you find one of Mom's bras, but you got to make sure it's Mom's, not Lucy's or Mary's. You need Mom's. That's the right size. Are you okay? And then you're going to cup the cup where her breast goes. And you're going to fill it up with detergent. And once it's full, you're going to pour that into the washing machine. And now you're ready to go. Are you okay over there, Corey?
What kills me is the device that he's scooping with is a measuring device.
Yes, and then he uses the cup. Like this isn't liquid laundry detergent. This is powder.
It's the crystal.
So I guess it's too hard because he doesn't have a Tide Pod. So he's got this is why Tide Pods were invented, so that little boys don't have to use their mom's bras to measure laundry detergent anymore. That's the origin of the Tide Pod.
But then subsequently, the tragedy there is that you also ended up with tons of children who started eating the Tide Pods. So you got to be careful when you're solving one issue. There's so many other issues that you don't even know that you're creating.
So that's what they're busy doing. So hopefully one day Ruthie will have a bra as big as her mother's, so she doesn't have to use her mom's bra to measure the detergent anymore.
That's got the tit in there. That's what we're looking for.
All right, Rod. This is Lucy's friend. He arrives. He has come to the house to hang out tonight, and he's got a moped. That is red flag number 1. He is wearing what appears to be a Bob Marley t-shirt.
It's tie-dyed.
It's a Rastafarian shirt.
Did he have a puka shell necklace?
I don't know. Did he? I feel like I'm seeing one in my memory, but it may not have been there.
I think I planted that in there for you.
That would track. And he's got long hair. Well, this is our new suspect number 1, right?
Rod wasn't even there. What, did you think he swung by for lunch to ask Lucy if he could come to dinner?
What? What are you talking about? I think
we found the joint before Rod had ever been to the house.
Yeah,
why are we thinking it's Rod?
Is Lucy trying to impress him because he smokes weed also? Did Lucy get it from him at school and bring it home?
So that would move Lucy up the suspect list.
Lucy
not Rod.
and Rod.
Oh, okay.
It can't be their poor little innocent baby girl, their little angel. It has to be Rod who manipulated her.
She's not so innocent. She was dressed in a little slutty.
God. Now, Eric asks Matt for tips on how to... Was it Matt? I think he asked Matt, right? He needs some tips on how to know if someone's smoking weed because he is starting to think that maybe Rod, maybe we have to question his character because he's into music that makes us think that he smokes pot and he's got a moped and that's kind of weird, right?
I think the main conversation that we keep missing is, what's the point?
The point in what? Figuring out whose joint this is?
Yeah.
I mean, it's is it really that big a deal? Is that where we're going with this?
Yeah, like that's the point I'm trying to get at.
Well, it's not, but on this show, this is the end of the world.
That should be the question of Matt. So what if he does? So what if the kid does smoke pot?
Well, that's illegal, and he's going to hell.
Okay.
And he's going to end up on Skid Row.
Yeah, right.
Well, it turns out he just needed to ask Annie for tips on how to tell if someone is a little high. Because she confesses to Eric that she smoked pot before college.
And this shocks Eric into a commercial break.
He did not know this information. She did not confess this to him before he decided to marry her. That's a big issue, I guess, between the two of them. He feels betrayed by Annie. How could she do something that horrible and not tell him about it for all these years?
How could you do this to me? Which becomes a trend on this show for every crazy white evangelical Christian on this show. How could you do this to me?
And now this is a bigger fight, right? He's not getting over this. And he's really dismayed that Annie could tell him that she smoked weed. And then she could just act like it never even happened and go into the kitchen and serve everyone dinner. Like, wow, what kind of person do you have to be to just pretend you never did something like that? Like, it's not even on your conscience.
Well, I was concerned that he included the dog, Happy, in the number of people that Annie served the meatloaf to.
Yeah. What did he say? And you just served dinner to
8 people and a dog like nothing ever happened. It's like, well, because it's not a big deal, man. Calm down.
It was a very, 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 very long time ago.
Incredibly long time ago. I thought it was wild when Annie was like, I've been meaning to tell you for our entire marriage. I just never knew how to bring it up. So this was the best time. That just came up as the best opportunity here.
This was the best opportunity to present this information.
I'll just go ahead and run with this now because I couldn't plan it any better than right now. I don't think I could. But the main shocking part was how she was like, I've been meaning to tell you. I wish I could have brought it up. I just didn't know how. And Eric gets so shitty with her where he's like, yeah, I wish you would have brought it up because then we wouldn't even have a son who's smoking weed right now because I wouldn't be with you.
I wouldn't have married you. You sinful monster.
This would have been a deal breaker.
It's your fault that our son is smoking weed. It's hereditary.
So that's a whole other problem that we're going to have to deal with at a later time. The main problem, yes, we have to focus on. It's our druggy son, Matt.
Well, they've decided that it is him, that he is the one who did this. They do not have proof that Matt brought the joint into the house, but they're going to go ahead and punish him. But first, Wilson has shown up. Again, Wilson is Mary's boyfriend. He's the widowed teenager who has a child.
Yeah, if you describe some characters on this show in one sentence, it's like, whoa.
That's what I'm saying. It's given telenovela, right?
Yeah. Because, yes, Wilson is the 16-year-old widowed father of a 2-year-old son or something. How old was he? He was 16 when he had him, and he's 18 now. So Wilson's older, strike one. And he had a kid when he was 16, strike two. So Reverend Camden's just looking for strike 3 tonight. So he's like, hey, man, you do any of them drugs?
Well, and Wilson's been trying to get on his good side, right? Because he knows, look, I came into this situation and
2 strikes.
And we're already down. So he says, you know what my dad does, Eric? Occasionally he will drug test me just to make sure that everything's okay. And you know, I'm straight edge. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I'm a good kid.
See?
Aside from the whole, like, you know, being a teenage father situation.
Well, I mean, I fuck, but I'm normalizing random unconsented drug testing for you, man. So this is good.
Mary is pissed. She's like, why did you tell my dad that? Now you're giving him ideas of things that he's going to be able to do. He's going to say, Wilson's dad does it too. I'm not the only one who randomly drug tests my children.
And Wilson's like, look, it's okay to give up a little bit of your freedoms, your liberties. Some mistakes are just like jumping out of a plane. Can't take them back. Maybe you could if you had a parachute, though.
Is that a metaphor?
Well, if you jump out of a plane, yeah, that's probably a problem. But if you jump out of a plane and you have a parachute, he's saying that some mistakes are so bad you can't take them back.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like you probably could in that scenario if you did have a parachute.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Now, Annie finds Matt out back playing basketball. So she's got some private time with him here, and she decides to tell him about that crazy time in her life when she smoked pot. But of course, that can't be the whole story, right? It can't just be Annie smoked weed one time and decided it wasn't for her, so she never did it again.
Nope. Yeah, we got to crank this bitch up to 11.
So of course, in true Seventh Heaven style, when she smoked pot one night, her friend's boyfriend drove off, he left the house, and a few blocks away, he got into a car accident while he was stoned, and he died.
Instantly.
And they watched his body lie on the pavement, and she thought to herself,
I'm going to sell the rights to this and call it Red Asphalt, and they'll play it at all of the student driving institutions across the country.
She felt personally responsible in some way because she had just been smoking weed with this young boy, and now he was dead on the sidewalk.
And Matt's like, okay.
Well, she immediately then goes into begging Matt to stop using drugs.
If you are using drugs, again, I'm not accusing you of using drugs. I'm just pretty sure you probably definitely are. If you are using them, please stop. It's not worth your life.
And Matt's pissed because, of course, they assume that he's doing drugs. So he walks away, storms off, doesn't admit to anything.
But if I was Matt, I'd be like, yeah, okay, so just don't mix driving into this, right? That was the problem in that scenario. Everything else, no big deal.
So Matt has walked off, but Reverend Camden decides we're calling a family meeting. We've kicked Wilson and Rod out, told them it's time to go. And he has everyone come into the living room and tells them what's going on. Look, I found marijuana, and I'm willing to drug test every one of you to find out which one of you brought it into this house.
Well. Dad found some weed in the house. Lucy found some weed in the house. And it just so happened to be in Mom's sock drawer. Explain that one. She's got suspicions.
The best part of it is that Eric pulls the joint out of his pocket and is like, this joint? And Lucy and Mary stare at it and they're like, yeah, that's the same one.
Do we know that it's the same one? How long has it been in Annie's possession? Is it the same one?
It's definitely the same joint. So now they're puzzled because they thought that they had their suspect. And it turns out Annie was innocent. She just had the joint there for safekeeping. So now everybody's looking at each other side-eyed because they don't know. Who is it?
Well, at that point, it becomes pretty obvious pretty quick.
Well, Matt admits. He says, look, it was me.
That's why it becomes pretty damn obvious.
And Simon instantly yells and calls him a loser and runs off. He cannot believe that his brother is so disgusting that he's just like one of those other junkies and that he brought weed into their home.
So then we have a nice big family blow up between Eric and Matt where they're screaming at each other and Matt's storming out and he's jumping into his friend's car and driving off.
Well, and the things Eric said to him were really mean. He's telling Matt that he's a loser just like Simon did. And that's why you can't hold down a job. Like all of these shortcomings and things that Matt has, like challenges that he has faced in his life up to now, Eric is assuming are because he's doing drugs and he's not been able to hold down a job.
Just blames every single problem that's going on in Matt's life on, oh, this must be the explanation for it. But then Matt immediately turned that around and was like, well, you should maybe be asking Mom more about this pot stuff because she's the one who actually is smoking the pot.
After he runs out to get in the car to leave.
Don't you dare bring your mother into this.
Then Eric turns to Annie and they start having a fight because he cannot believe that she would tell Matt that she smoked weed. Why would you arm our child with that type of information so he could just throw it back in our faces? Why would you let him know that you're a human being who's made mistakes in the past and has done things that they've regretted?
Oh, and he's also just kind of steering his anger in general at Annie because he's still mad at Matt, but now he's going to go yell at Annie about all this other stuff that he pretended to be okay with before.
And now they're trying to figure out, where did we go wrong with these kids? We talked to them about drugs.
We don't talk to them about sex.
But we definitely covered drugs as a topic.
We did let them know drugs is bad.
Except for when Annie didn't tell them that she had a friend who died in a tragic car accident after smoking some weed. I guess we left that out of the story until now. And for some reason, Annie apologizes to Eric for having smoked weed and for the fact that she didn't tell him about it until now.
Yeah, it was nice that he didn't have to apologize to her at all for anything.
No, anything that he did before they got married, that's okay. But Annie should have to make sure that she apologizes and begs for his forgiveness for not having come to him sin-free. What am I looking for?
Lydia Plath?
Lydia, you weren't Lydia Plath enough for me. You weren't angelic enough. What kind of woman did I marry? Hashtag patriarchy. Now they decide they're going to run out. They tell Mary and Lucy, can you keep an eye on the younger kids? We're going to go somewhere. We don't know where they're going, right? And then we find out they went to church.
Take me to church. Of course they end up at a church. That's the whole premise of the show. It's church.
Do they have to show a church every episode? Is that like a requirement?
Well, he's the pastor, so most of the storyline revolves around the church in some proximity.
Well, they're there at this point now. And when they walk in, they're shocked because Matt is already there in a pew towards the front and he is praying away.
Oh, he's praying his guts out.
He is apologizing for the fact that he brought a joint home from school and the fact that he never even smoked pot, but now his parents think that he's a horrible person and he just regrets the whole thing. Basically, he tells everything that he could have told to Annie and Eric when he was home to God because he thinks that only the big man's going to be the one who actually believes him. But because he said this in a church, Eric and Annie are open to believing it, I guess, because it wasn't good enough to say in the living room to them.
And I guess that just leaves us all with a little bit of hope. If we're in this exact same situation, we just hope that your parents stumble upon you and secondhand hear a confession that's happening between you and God. I guess that just puts it into real tangible, realistic terms that we can hope to emulate in real life.
And of course, Matt turns around and realizes, because he's got this feeling that he's being watched, and he realizes it's his parents, and they have this big embrace, and they apologize to each other. And Eric declares that their family is going to be all right.
Because nothing happened. Nothing. There was nothing. There was nobody on drugs.
Well, that's probably the worst thing about the episode, right? There was no conflict resolution.
There was no conflict.
There was literally nothing happened. We accused Matt of having done something wrong. But then we found out that he didn't actually do it, so we all just apologized to each other in the end. But also, it's not like Matt even told them what happened, and they had an open conversation about it. He had to confess it while in a church, and they happened to overhear it.
That's not a realistic conclusion for you? That's not going to work for you on a thematic level?
Oh, this show is so problematic in so many ways, and yet you can't stop watching it because it is like watching a car crash.
The whole show is a car crash. Yeah, just start to finish, top to bottom, car crash.
And that is the episode where they find a joint in the Camden family home.
Reefer. The devil's lettuce.
Oh, now you're going to come up with all the names?
I forgot I was doing that.
Will the Camdens be the same? This is only season 2.
And do not be fooled if you're looking at the episode list on Hulu. It's not just those 4 seasons. They're over on Paramount Plus, and there's like 20 seasons. And this was back when they were doing 22 episodes per season. This was not a walk in the park.
This show was on until 2007. Is that not crazy?
Yeah, that's too long. That was 10 years.
With a message that I feel like wasn't really relevant to a lot of people.
Oh, and after the financial crisis, it's not gonna do you any good.
Well, what do we think happened to the Camdens in 2008? Is that why the show ended? They lost their home. They had to declare bankruptcy.
He wasn't a stockbroker or anything. What do you mean? He's a pastor. He's a reverend.
I guess that's always a sure job, huh? Anyway, we got to end the episode. Any last words, Corey?
Oh, God. If you're going to watch Seventh Heaven, just stop at the menopause episodes.
I tried to get all the way through it. I don't think I did. I gave up when things got weird with Ruthie.
That's way late in the game, though, because they were clinging to that. That was their only lifeline.
Well, I was trying. I was trying to make it all the way to the end, and I don't think that I did.
No, just stop at the menopause episodes, because that's when Annie's character changes forever, and they just make her insufferable with situations and mood swings that could be easily solved by modern medicine. But again, that doesn't exist. We'll just pray this away.
Thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Be sure to keep the conversation going over on our Discord channel.
Stay tuned, share with friends. See you next time.
To make switching to the new Boost Mobile risk-free, we're offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
So why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Because you have nothing to lose. Boost Mobile is offering a 30-day money-back guarantee.
No, I asked why wouldn't you switch from Verizon or T-Mobile?
Oh.
Wouldn't.
Because you love wasting money as a way to punish yourself because your mother never showed you enough love as a child?
Whoa. Easy there.
Yeah.
Applies to online activations. Requires port in and auto pay. Customers activating in stores may be charged non-refundable activation fees.